When Jim Henson brought his vision to life in 1986, few could have predicted the production challenges that lay ahead. This fantasy masterpiece harbored secrets that would remain hidden for decades. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a film that defined a generation. The antagonist nobody expected. The film's mesmerizing villain almost didn't exist as we know him. Early concept art showed something completely different. A traditional puppet character with no human features whatsoever. The creative team initially envisioned a creature that would fade into the background alongside all the other fantastical beings. But then the casting process took an unexpected turn. While contemporary legends like Michael Jackson and Sting were allegedly in the running, one artist stood out from the crowd. David Bowie possessed an otherworldly quality that nobody else could match. His androgynous mystique, combined with his musical genius and stage experience, made him the perfect choice. Here's where it gets interesting. Bowie didn't just fill a role, he completely transformed it. The production team went back to the drawing board, crafting original songs tailored specifically to his strengths. What started as a minor antagonist became the film's beating heart. The character grew from a background threat into a captivating, multi-layered force that audiences couldn't look away from. A script rewritten 24 times. Finding the story's voice became an odyssey unto itself. The screenplay went through an astounding number of revisions. Sources suggest upwards of 20 different drafts. Each version pulled the narrative in wildly different directions. Terry Jones from Monty Python took a crack at it early on, bringing his signature absurdist sensibility. While hilarious, his version missed the emotional depth Henson desperately wanted. Later, writer Elaine May stepped in uncredited to strengthen the character relationships and emotional core. The fundamental problem was this: how do you create genuine stakes in a whimsical fantasy world? How do you balance humor with heart, wonder with consequence? After countless meetings and revisions, the team finally cracked the code. They created something that felt authentic, a story where imagination had real weight and choices truly mattered. Casting the heroine. The search for the leading lady became incredibly competitive. Young actresses across Hollywood auditioned, including 2 future stars, Helena Bonham Carter and Sarah Jessica Parker, both hoping to land this coveted role. Then 15-year-old Jennifer Connelly walked into the audition room. She didn't have the extensive resume other candidates brought. What she possessed was something far more valuable: genuine emotional transparency. She inhabited that awkward space between innocence and maturity, between childhood wonder and adult responsibility. More experienced performers might have delivered technically perfect readings. Connelly brought something irreplaceable, an unguarded honesty that made every moment feel real. She became the emotional anchor in a world of puppets and fantasy, giving audiences someone to believe in. A legal crisis mid-production. Just when everything seemed to be running smoothly, disaster nearly struck. Maurice Sendak, the brilliant mind behind Where the Wild Things Are, noticed troubling parallels between his beloved book and this film. Both featured young protagonists entering strange realms filled with unusual creatures, ruled by powerful beings. Lawyers got involved. Production slowed to a crawl as everyone waited to see if the entire project might collapse. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Years of work and millions of dollars hung in the balance. Eventually, cooler heads prevailed. An arrangement was reached that included specific acknowledgement in the film's credits. Work resumed, but the incident served as a sobering reminder of how fragile creative endeavors can be, even when backed by major studios. What's the name? You'd think naming a film would be straightforward. Not this time. Henson and his team wrestled with countless possibilities, trying to capture the essence of what they'd created in a single word. Early suggestions felt flat, too obvious, too conventional, or simply unmemorable. They needed something that suggested both external adventure and internal transformation. The winning choice worked brilliantly because it operated on multiple levels. It described the physical maze at the story center, while also representing the protagonist's psychological journey. The title promised confusion, discovery, and growth, a path where getting lost is the only way to find yourself. A blessing from the dark side. On the first day of principal photography, something magical happened. Darth Vader himself showed up on set to wish everyone good luck. This wasn't random. Executive producer George Lucas, Henson's close friend and collaborator, arranged the special visit for a crew about to embark on months of grueling technical work. Having one of cinema's most iconic villains offer encouragement felt profoundly meaningful. It injected humor and warmth into what would become an exhausting, but ultimately triumphant production. Acting in a vacuum. David Bowie faced a challenge few actors ever encounter. The goblin subjects surrounding his character couldn't speak during filming. Puppeteers needed both hands to operate their creations, making simultaneous voice work impossible. All dialogue would be recorded separately in post-production. This meant Bowie performed entire scenes alone, responding to lines that existed only in the script. He had to imagine reactions, anticipate responses, and maintain emotional continuity with nothing but thin air. Remarkably, this technical limitation became an artistic strength. The antagonist's palpable exasperation with his bumbling minions feels incredibly authentic. That's partly because Bowie channeled his real confusion and isolation into the character's growing frustration. Hidden star power. Remember the dreamlike ballroom sequence, where reality bends and the protagonist loses herself in swirling masked figures. The choreography that makes that scene so disorienting and memorable came from Gates McFadden. McFadden approached movement as emotional storytelling rather than traditional dance. She created patterns designed to reflect inner turmoil and confusion. Years later, she became famous as Dr. Beverly Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation, but her contribution to this film remains one of her most haunting and underappreciated works. Real danger in the void. When the protagonist tumbles down that endless shaft, caught and passed by hundreds of disembodied hands, you might assume movie magic protected the actress. You'd be wrong. Jennifer Connelly hung in a genuine harness, suspended high above the studio floor with safety measures that would horrify modern insurance companies. Puppeteers surrounded her, their creations grabbing and rotating her body as she descended. The fear in her eyes isn't just excellent acting, it's real. The physical discomfort of dangling midair, combined with the surreal sensation of puppet hands everywhere, created authentic anxiety that the cameras captured perfectly. Sometimes the best special effect is actual experience. The scene that nearly broke everyone. That jubilant musical number appears effortless on screen. Spontaneous, joyful, perfectly synchronized. The reality was far different. Beneath the visible set, dozens of puppeteers crammed into impossibly tight spaces, each controlling specific elements while remaining completely hidden, coordinating their movements with Bowie's energetic performance, and the camera's choreography required inhuman precision. A single mistake meant starting over from the beginning. The sequence ballooned far beyond its scheduled shooting time, testing everyone's physical endurance and mental stamina. Puppeteers developed cramps, tempers flared, and patience wore dangerously thin. But when the footage came together, it justified every difficult hour. That scene represents practical filmmaking at its absolute peak. Human artistry and technical skill combining to create something computers still can't quite replicate. The legacy. This film endured initial disappointment at the box office, only to find its true audience through home video and repeated television broadcasts. Today, it stands as a testament to Jim Henson's uncompromising vision and the dedicated artists who brought that vision to life. Every frame contains invisible effort. Every scene hides untold stories. That's the real magic, not the puppets or the music or the visual effects, but the countless creative choices made by passionate people who refuse to settle for anything less than extraordinary.